So we're gonna talk about this stuff here. And in the key of C major, we have these chords. We have C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, and B diminished. Okay? Now, the B diminished chord, I'm not going to go crazy about. Not a chord we're probably going to use. Okay? But I wrote them out. And the only reason why they're in different colors is just so that it's easier to just pick them out from the thing. Because I noticed when it was in all white, they kind of just blended together. So I just did it in colors just to make it stick out a little bit more. So we can use any chord progression we want in here. Like I wrote them out in Roman numerals. The capital letters are for major, and the lowercase are for minor. Okay, so the way this works, like I know typically we've gone over 1, 4, 5 chord progressions, right? Like so it would be C major, F major, G major. Those are the kinds of chord progressions we've done a lot of, and we've seen a lot in songs, like C, F, G, C, right? And that would be tons and tons of different songs. Maybe not in C major, but it could be in many other keys. If it was A major, it would be similar. It'd be A major for 1, right? Our 2 would be B minor. 3 would be C. No, if we were A major, C sharp minor, and then we would have D major, and then E major would be the 4, 5. So A, E, D, right, would be those chords in A major. But now we haven't talked about, and here is a chord progression I'm sure you guys have seen in many songs. So we would take, let's say, I'm going to spread this out a little bit. We're going to go C major, A minor, F major, and G major. Now, this is I'm sure you guys have seen this chord progression somewhere, right? In some song somewhere. So we're really playing a 1, like we're playing a 1, a 6, a 4, and a 5, right? That's this kind of chord progression that we're playing here, which is totally fine, right? Like we can use any one of these chords that come up in here at any time. So it's not like we're forbidden from using them. These are all the chords we have access to. So if we do 1, 6, 4, 5. Now I'm sure that sounds like a song, right? And you could hear that in like maybe some 50 songs, like something like that. I could have it a little backwards, but there's tons of songs that use these exact 4 chords, right? So maybe they kind of play them around, like Eagle Eyes Cherry. So I'll start on the A minor. You go A, F, then C, then G. So Save Tonight. I don't know if you know that song, but it's the same chords. What's another one is that's 3 Doors Down. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, it's a pretty popular song by 3 Doors Down. All right, so we got that one as well as another one that we could do that uses these same 4 chords, right? So that one's A, G, F, C, G, A, G, F. Okay, so It's Not My Time by 3 Doors Down. That's the name of that. All right, so now we're going to talk about borrowing chords. Now we can borrow chords from the C minor scale. So here are the C minor chords. We have C minor is our 1. Okay, so we have 1. D diminished is our 2. E flat major is our 3rd. F minor is our 4. G minor is our 5. A flat major is our 6. And B flat major is our 7. Now imagine this. What if we did something crazy? Like take this A flat major and stuck it here. We're still playing the 6, but we're borrowing the 6 from the minor chord, right? From the minor chord scale, from that group, right? So we would have C. Now, that's not too bad, right? It actually kind of, it's a strong sound, but it doesn't sound too bad. So we're borrowing this chord from the minor scale, from the minor chords group, right? Instead of just sticking with the normal chords that we would do up here, we're now borrowing one from the minor, which I think is pretty cool that we can actually do that and get away with it. You know, I think that's pretty neat. So now I want someone to make a suggestion, taking this here. We're playing this, but I want you to switch out one of these chords with one of these chords down here. Go ahead, pick any one you want, and let's try it out. We'll replace it with that one. Oh, nice, the G minor. I like that. That's a good idea. So we would play a G minor here instead. Good. All right. So G minor. So we have C. And we're still going to play that G at the end, the G major, or should we switch that one now too? See, now we've come up with all these different, because of switching that chord, we now have another thing. We could stick with this G major at the end, or we could just insert a different chord there. We can insert a chord from the major grouping, or we could do it from the minor. So this is where, your ear will come into play, or you just kind of pick one and say, I'm going to make it work no matter what. Let's say we said, you know what, from that F, we're going to go to D minor. We're going to make it work no matter how it sounds. So then we have. Now, that D minor doesn't sound too bad, but we could go somewhere else, right? Maybe instead of playing that F, we play something different. Maybe we play that A flat major there, right? Maybe that's what we do here. We'll go, so we'll have C, G minor, I just went right up to that B flat major. I don't know, it was calling to me. But remember, you could do whatever you want. It almost feels like it has to go there, right? Then it goes that A flat major. And when we get to that C, man, that C really kicks there. So I'm going right on up to the end, just boop, all the way to the end now. So I'm just going. And it actually works really well. Yeah, that sounds good.
Thank you.
All right, now this is not the only chord progression that we could use. Okay, let's pick a different chord progression altogether, right? Let's say we just did the 1-4-5, right? 1-4-5. We get rid of that C or the A minor. Have our normal 1-4-5 chord progression, right? We have C. Now we could do that. And of course, we could always make the G a G7 if we wanted to, right? And then we'd have C. But let's leave that out just for now, just to kind of keep it simple. But now let's say we take our 1-4-5 chord progression and we decide, you know what, let's change it up. Let's play a F minor in here. Watch what happens. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to play the G. We're going to play an F here. And this is going to be really cool. So watch what happens here. All right, whatever. Okay. But now what we're going to do is we're going to add F minor chord to the end. So we're going to go down to this 4 chord here. Now this is very cool. So we can have and that I love the way that turns out, right? So those minor fourths from the major fourths it's a really nice transition. It works very well. So let's try that out. We have C, G, F, F sharp, F minor, sorry. All right, so another thing is, let's move outside of C major for a minute. And imagine we're playing a normal 1-4-5 chord progression. Or we're going 1-5-4 or whatever, right? So we have 1. We'll do it with the A. So we'll have A, B, D. So we're going to go A, B, D. And then we can just go to the D minor right there. And we're still creating that borrowed chord. So we don't have to just play it in this key. We can do it somewhere else. We can do it up here. So those borrowed chords, we can take them from any key that we want and use them, right? One thing that we have to keep in mind though is the order that the chords go in major and in minor. That's about the only thing you really have to memorize. I'm not a fan of memorization, just because you can memorize something and not understand it, right? So one thing about memorization is that you can remember something but not understand it, and then it's just kind of more of a mechanical thing. But with something like this, it is good to have it memorized when you're playing a major chord or using a major scale, the chords that the order they go in. So from 1 to 7, we have major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. Right? And then with the minor, we have minor, diminished, major, minor, minor, major, major, and then back to our minor again. Okay, so they should be memorized. I don't expect you to remember it from me just saying it now. That's a little much. All right, it's a little unfair. Okay, I only know it because of years of just going over that same information over and over again. All right, but it is up here on the board. So remember the capital numbers, right? Or the uppercase numbers are major and the lowercase numbers are minor. Okay, so when we could technically get rid of this up here and say, okay, we're going to do a 1, 5, 4, minor 4. We could pick any key, right? So let's say we pick B minor. So B would be our 1, or B major. So B would be our 1. F sharp would be our 5. E would be our 4. And then E minor would be our minor 4. So that's pretty cool that we can do that stuff. All right, so now let's take a look at another chord progression that we could use here. Let's go with A minor. We'll do C and G. That'll be our chord progression. Pretty simple. I'm sure we've heard that before. But instead of adding or switching out one of these, instead of switching out one of those chords for a borrowed chord, why don't we just add a borrowed chord to this? Now, we could hit up that G minor and play that G minor here, and that would probably sound very nice, right? Yeah, that sounds nice. Let's do something else with that though. What if we did this? That B flat. Now that does give us a bit of our G minor, but it's a totally different sound. So just because the B flat is what makes the G, switches the G major to a G minor. So in G major, the B is what makes it a major, and the B flat is what makes the G minor a minor. So now instead of playing the G minor, we're going to play that B flat major. And let's see what happens with that. So it's strong sounding for sure. And we could actually use that because it doesn't sound wrong. It has a strong, solid sound to it that kind of gives a different feel to what we're doing in the song. Right? So we could use that B flat and just change the key right there if we want to. And just go, okay, now and I just switched to C minor. Now I'm doing C minor, A flat major, B flat major. And then we could just go right back into our other thing that we were doing, right? Or you know, I mean, obviously, try to make it sound a little bit smoother, but you get the idea how that works, right? Well, let's turn it back a little bit. Pick. I want you to pick three chords from the C major chord list. Pick three chords.
C.
Okay, C.
G. E minor.
You said G.
Yeah.
And then A minor. Okay.
Minor. E minor. I don't.
Oh, you said E minor. E minor. All right, I like it. Let's do it. Now remember, we can take one of these chords, okay, any one of these, and replace it with any one of these chords here. We'll do that one, or that one, or that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. It does not matter. It only matters depending on what your ears tell you, right? If you don't like the way it sounds, then don't use it. But there's always going to be somebody who goes, "Hey, I like the way that sounds. It sounds different, and I want to use it." So now replace one of these three chords with one of these. Maybe not this one. Forget that one. That one's just unless you want to try. So what'd you play there? G minor?
C minor.
All right, so we played a G minor instead of the G. So we have C. So now that E minor sounds pretty dark when we get to it now, right? So now if you want it, that's fine. By all means, go ahead and use that. But if you feel like it is too dark for what you're trying to create, then this might not be the right chord to play here. The G minor, or the E minor. The E minor might be the wrong chord because this you want to hear that G minor after that C. That E minor doesn't seem to fit, however. So now we have to take a look. Well, what else could we play there? Maybe we could play the A minor. Try that out. Maybe that works. Maybe not. So, or we say, why don't we do another borrowed chord? I'm thinking that B flat major. That might sound pretty good with this. So we have C. That seems to work pretty well. C major. But now this is under the heading of experimenting, right? So we're just experimenting, seeing what we can do with this chord progression, this simple basic chord progression that we started off with. That is, you've seen in lots of songs. This is not an unfamiliar chord progression. I was thinking about that E flat major instead of the E minor. Yeah, I don't know about that. Maybe. All right, so why don't we pick another chord progression? So we're going to do this one: D minor, F, C. Now that's nice. It sounds good. And this is another pretty normal chord progression to run into. The one, it's a 2-4-1 chord progression. But here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna add a chord in between. I'm gonna do a B flat major before I go to that C. So I'm gonna go D minor. And that, we borrowed a chord from the C minor and injected it into our normal C major chord progression, and it works beautifully. When we're playing in C major, these chords on top are the chords that we have use for, right? These are the chords that we would use in the key of C major. These are the 7 chords that we have access to. But we can use some of the chords from the C minor scale, and we can play those instead of one of these chords. Like we could switch it out. Instead of ever playing this B diminished, we could play this B flat major instead, right? As an example, right? So we're not stuck just having to use these 7 chords. We actually have 14 chords that we can use. Okay, that D, I don't know about that D diminished though. That D diminished is probably like, I don't know. How would I use that one? So we have like a C. I guess I would use that as a transition to get to the E flat major if I was to do that. So I would have our C. I guess that's so. Maybe what I'll do is I'm going to do a seminar on the diminished chords, what they are, how they work. Okay, when can we use them? Can we use them? Because you don't see them used a lot, but there are times when they are used. They're used in lots of songs. In fact, the song "Frosty the Snowman," the kids' song, uses a diminished chord. There are some pop songs that use diminished chords. So they do find their way into things. I heard them in some country songs as well. So they slip into things, but they're not usual. They're not used that that commonly, just because of the very distinct and unsettling sound. Right? Like it just doesn't have a sound that you can really hold on to. like it just falls apart the second you go somewhere else. Right, I go to that C, I cleaned it right up. Right? So that diminished chord, even though it's in there, we're kind of using that to make that, when we get to back to C, bigger, brighter sounding, gives more relief to that, right? So So that's a way we can use that chord, but we'll do a seminar on that, how to hold the chord and how to play it, how we can use it. All right, that'll be a nice little challenge because I could easily use it playing heavy metal music, no problem. Oh yeah, diminished chords, it's perfect for that. But anything outside of that, it's very complicated to use to make it sound good in a song somewhere. All right, so maybe we'll do something on that. All right.